to dive into the Diary of Jane. So I went on Spotify. This song has 500 million plays just on Spotify. So it might have the same amount on Apple and elsewhere. The music video for Diary of Jane has 200 million views on YouTube. Like this song, it's crazy. Like no song has that many plays. Unbelievable. Why do you think people love that song so much? Like that, to me, that song, a lot of times people go to that song as a representation of the band. Like, oh, you don't know Breaking Benjamin? Here, check out the Diary of Jane. I know why I love the song. Why do you think the world loves that song so much?
Good question. I mean, I'll tell you a real quick story about Diarrhea of Jane. So we did it in Yonkers, New York. My wife was pregnant. Found out she's getting induced the day of my video. I literally did the video and right to the airport, and they wouldn't let us fly because there were tornadoes, and I almost missed my son's birth. Thank the Lord we flew above it, and I got there to see my son being born, but it was on that video shoot. True story. Same day? Same day.
Wow. Well, you'll never forget the that music video then, for sure.
So that's what it means to me. I think, here's the deal. When we were doing pre-pro and I heard Ben play that riff and I did the drums and everything, Ben didn't have one word. And David Bendith was there when we were writing it in pre-pro. First, he kind of busted our balls because we stole it from Seven Dust, the verse, like that, dun, 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 right? He thought it was kind of corny, but we fought him and we were like, no, we want that. And I said, guys, this is going to be our biggest single. And they all looked at me like a deer in headlights, and I'll never forget it. They're like, bro, we don't even have lyrics. I go, trust me. There's something about this. I don't know what, but I've always been blessed to know what a great song is, what it gives me, that music-gasm, the chills. I knew it was going to be a single. I knew it. I don't care what the hook would have been. It was just the musicality. Everything was the perfect recipe to make the cake. And when Ben finally came up with a couple of words and we were in pre-pro, he would say, Uncola, and it became Diarrhea of Jane. But we would always joke with that. So we had some idea of what he was kind of going to do for the melody when we were jamming. Then when we recorded it and we listened back, I was like, dude, this is going to be a big song. I'm right. And I'll be arrogant about this. It's going to be a big song. And the reason I think why people like it so much is Ben wrote such a great hook. Do you like that? Do you like that? It's such a catchphrase, like so cold. We say so cold every winter. And it's so cold, no pun intended. Or sooner or later, I say it all the time, sooner or later, no pun intended. I really say no pun intended a lot to our songs and every time, everyday life. That do you like that? Do you like that? Was so catchy that even if you didn't like the band or heard the song for the first time, you're going to say that. Then you had my drumming, which was not a typical metal beat per se, especially in the beginning, where it's really like spooky. And I do all that splash work. And then that big explosion hits you. At that time, no one was playing that kind of music the way we did it. And I think that's really what how we took the world by storm, was that one song and that style. Because So Cold is kind of still, well, I joke about it today, is Spiders by System of a Down, but is also like a Tool bass, you know, those kind of riffs. That Diarrhea of Jane didn't have that except in the very intro, and then it goes into something more heavy, but more melodic. And when that chorus comes in, it's massive. And like I said, I think it had the perfect ingredients of a great song from beginning to end. It kept you enriched into what we were doing. And then the video kind of like, people were like, is there a girl that died? Is it about he had problems, suicide? You know, it was a lot of different things that completed people's journal of them and their lives. So
yeah, and your drums were another big part of that song. A lot of hooks that you provided, and probably the biggest hook of the entire song is you mentioned the "Do you like that? Do you like that?" And then there's the pause, right? Is it a floor tom hit? A big
yeah, it's a
pause?
reverse cymbal. Yeah, I hit a snare and floor. I go boom, and it goes like that.
I think that's like the biggest hook of the entire song. So it's what you said about, Ben saying that line was a huge hook. And I think it's actually right after it, you doing that, it's those two together is kind of the undeniable hook, in my opinion.
You know, when your song is big is when people make fun of the title and call it Diarrhea of Jane.
I've never heard that, but
3 Days Grace did that to us for our last show. That's a whole nother story.